Yeah, hi there. And these comments are for Hassan, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And I'm going to give you some feedback on your integrated speaking practice test. The VoxyPop website was not working for a while, as you know, but now it's up and running again. So I understand you posted more than one practice test per day as a way of catching up. But don't forget my rule, just do one practice test each day, which gives me enough time to give you comments and everybody else. And remember that I also have a lot of writing practice tests I have to score every day also. All right, so let's get started with your integrated speaking practice test number 12. I'm going to listen to this one first. Okay. Let's see what you have to say.
Both students discussed the budget closure days, which means the university will close down campus for some days in each semester because of the limitation in the budget.
That's a good introduction, and it exactly frames what's happening in the lecture or the discussion.
However, the first student is not happy about the decision. He thinks he paid his course to get a good quality of education.
All right.
By having such closure days, he will be prevented from getting good instructions from his professor. On the other hand, the second student backs up the university decision and gives two reasons to persuade the first student.
That's a good, I like how you did that. Now you talk about the first reason and the second reason, so you have a nice clear organization of ideas.
First of all, he thinks that by having few closure days, the university will prevent the tuition fees from being doubled. Second,
I want to say the tuition fees.
He thinks this is just a temporary matter. Once the economy improved, the university will restore.
I'll say once the economy improves. I would just use the simple present there, not the past.
And will eventually eliminate the closure days. So finally, the first student is happy about the decision, and he thinks by working hard at home and preparing for the exam.
Say working.
He can make a follows of instructions.
Okay, so on this one, I'm going to put you at about 24 points out of 30 on this one. You had a good organization. You had some minor problems with pronunciation with certain words. You had maybe some minor grammatical issues in there. But overall, you had very strong topic development, a good organization. You had a complete, accurate response. So again, 24 points out of 30 on this practice test. All right, let's go to your next one. And this one, going back to the website. So you just did number 12. This is integrated speaking practice test number 13. You did this one 2 days ago.
The lady in this discussion has a problem. She is writing a research paper in which she found a good topic to write about. However, she doesn't know what type of good academic reference papers to use to support her paper with. Her friend in the discussion...
I would say that's a little bit awkward how you said that. She doesn't know how to find the references needed to complete her research project. So you had some language use issues explaining that idea between about 14 and 17 seconds of your response.
Suggests her to talk to a reference librarian who is an expert. Her friend in the discussion suggests her to talk to a reference librarian who is an expert professor who works in a library to find academic reference sources.
I'm going to say academic. So the stress is academic on that third syllable, not the first syllable.
For the students. However, she doesn't know what type of questions to ask. The gentleman suggests that she has to prepare all the relevant questions.
I would say this is a grammar issue here. The gentleman suggests that she has to prepare. No, the gentleman suggests that she prepare. You want to use subjunctive when you're using words like suggest, recommend, require. You might want to go to Google and type in the words subjunctive mood, or using the subjunctive mood in writing and speaking, and see if you can learn more about that particular grammar.
About the paper. And she has to show those questions plus her research paper to the professor, so that will enable the professor to find good scholar references and sources to support her paperwork. Without those,
I would say to support.
Professor will not able to do any help.
Or will not be able to give her any help, I would say there. So this one, you did have some language use issues, some minor delivery problems. So with the language use, I gave you the suggestion of looking up the subjunctive, using Google as a search engine, and find information about how to do that, because that grammar right now you don't understand exactly. This one I'm going to score you a little bit lower. I'm going to put you at about 3.0 out of 4, 23 points out of 30 on this particular practice test due to some problems with language use and delivery. All right, let's go to your next one. This is integrated speaking practice test number 14.
The man and the woman from the discussion are talking about their class professor's research paper syllabus requirement.
There, that was good. That's a good introduction.
According to the syllabus, the research paper must be between 6 to 7 pages long.
That's right.
At first, both students thought there might be some flexibility in writing the research paper. However, the woman gave 2 examples which made...
I'll say the woman gives 2 examples. But if you use the word thought, which is past, and then you go to give, I would probably say at first the 2 students think that there is some flexibility, but then the woman gives. So I would just be consistent. You're summarizing the information. It's okay to use present tense to summarize other people's ideas. So I would say that would be okay to do.
Show that their professor is not flexible at all. The first example was one student failed the exam because he wrote a longer research paper, which was 7.5 pages. And the second student scored 65% because he wrote a shorter paper, which was 5.5 pages long.
Okay.
So finally, both students came to conclusion that the professor...
I would say both students conclude it's less wordy than came to a conclusion or come to a conclusion. Just say both students conclude.
Not flexible at all. And in order to pass, they must stay within 6 to 7 page long syllabus requirements.
They have to stay within the 6 to 7 page research requirement or research page requirement as stated in the syllabus. Something along those lines. All right, this was a strong response. I'm going to put you between 23 and 24 points out of 30 on this one. So you had some minor language use issues, some minor pronunciation issues, but overall I think you had a complete, organized, accurate response to the discussion. Okay, let's go to your next one. This one's number 15, I think, right?
The man in the discussion has attended his biology exam, however, he hasn't received good scores.
Okay.
On the other hand, the lady has received good scores for the same class last semester. This is because she worked...
I wouldn't say the lady has received last semester. The lady received good scores last semester. So based on the phrase last semester, that kind of forces you to use the simple past in that sentence.
Rather than harder. And she is giving advice to the gentleman by giving 2 tips. First of all, she followed her professor's study notes. This is by making note cards and writing a question in one side and answer on the other side, in which she revised them for 2 weeks and got a good understanding of the subject. And furthermore, she
good transition word.
Attended a study class in which the biology teaching assistant was teaching the group. And additionally, she also met with her lecturer, in which she showed him her notes and asked for tips about the exam.
And asked for tips. So a little bit of what we call awkward pausing and phrasing, but you got the grammar. The grammar was good. You made some connections. You put things together. It was easy to understand.
So for those reasons, she got better marks.
Okay, so I would kind of end, you know, because of these things, she tells the man, or she tells the man to follow these tips if he wants to get higher scores or something. That's probably a little bit more appropriate way to end this response, because that does help match the purpose of the task, which is the woman is trying to help the man do better with his biology test scores, right? Okay, here. I'm going to put you between 24 and 26 points out of 30 on this one. I think overall this was a strong response. Again, it was accurate. It was complete. You did, I think, a pretty good job with your vocabulary and your grammar in this one. With delivery, there were a few times in the speech where you had some minor pauses or hesitations in there. But overall, I think it was a pretty good response. Okay, let's go to the next one. I think we have one more here. So far, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, hold on just a second. I gotta open up VoxyPop one more time. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to the last one that you submitted, which is number 11. So far I've done 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now let's take a look at number integrated speaking practice test number 11.
According to the speakers, there are ways which can be done to avoid school children from getting bored. At the same time, they can have fun.
Now this in which thing, I like it, but you have a tendency to overuse it. I've noticed in all of these speaking tasks, you're using the word in which. Now, in which can be substituted for either where or when, but usually on which means when, in which means where, right? So what I'm saying is just be careful you don't overuse a certain grammar structure too much.
First, according to the speakers, there are ways which can be done to avoid school children from getting bored. At the same time, they can have fun. First of all,
let's go back to that again.
There are ways which can be done to avoid school children from getting bored.
I would go back. Let me see if I can give you a better idea how to say that.
According to the speakers, there are ways which can be done to avoid school children from getting bored.
I'm having trouble with your pronunciation here. How about ways to help someone from getting bored? You can probably use an infinitive there and not have to use the word which at all. So you weren't using in which, you're using which, right?
At the same time, they can have fun. First of all, according to the speakers, various studies has shown that when a teacher teaches basics of addition, the children will learn faster if they do.
So you're talking about interactive learning, right? Making interactive learning something or an important part of a classroom in order to help students acquire more knowledge or learn faster.
Things. For example, picking pencils, which is equal to...
When you say, for example, according to the conversation, a teacher can have students pick pencils.
Solution of a problem. And additionally, children will enjoy role playing. And
I want to say children will enjoy role plays. Role plays. You had some trouble with the R sound.
Not get bored when they are studying for a longer period of time. And second of all, the speakers emphasize that when
good, I like that. The speakers emphasize that
teacher becomes like a friend to the students will listen more effectively and learn better.
Now that was really incredible grammar. You said the teacher suggested that when students blah blah blah, they will. So you actually had a clause embedded within a clause using multiple clauses in the same sentence. That really helps your grammar part of your speaking score. The grammar and the language use is quite remarkable in this particular response.
This is because they will see the teacher as a friend and not as a person which is there just to give them more work to do.
I'd say as a person, not person. Person. Okay, so that was a strong response. I'm going to put you right around 24 to 26 points out of 30 on this one. So I think your grammar, your vocabulary was strong. You had some minor difficulties with pronunciations of a few words in there, but I can understand what you're saying. You had a good, strong organization along with a complete, accurate response. So again, between 24 and 26 points out of 30. So right now, I went ahead and scored integrated practice test number 11, number 14, number 15, number 13, and even number 12. So I gave you feedback on all those different integrated speaking tasks. So you're very close to the 26 mark. You may have to make a few more changes with either your grammar, vocabulary, or your delivery, and you should be where you want to be. Anyway, thank you very much for completing these practice tests.